Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought I'd do a little read with us, but the holiday edition. So for tonight's book, Joey unwrapped How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And I thought this was a very fitting way to celebrate the holiday and start new traditions. So one of the traditions we started is this, which is the books, and he doesn't know about the other ones yet, so he's getting there. But I thought you could join us for our first night of reading, and we're gonna read How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Are you excited, Joe? So again, this is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and this is going to be a favorite in our house. I know it. So Joe, let's get started.
I let you know I can't stop coughing right now.
It's okay. How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. And Dixie is my cameraman and knocking me all over the place. Ready? Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were just too tight. But I think that most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy face at the warm lighted windows below in their town, for he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath, and they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming, for tomorrow he knew. All the Who girls and boys would wake up bright and early. They'd rush for their toys, and then, oh the noise, noise! That's one thing he hated the most, noise. The noise. And then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something that the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Who Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing. And the more that the Grinch started the Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming, but how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat. And he chuckled and he clucked, what a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer, the Grinch looked around. But since reindeer were scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then he said, giddy up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, with the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile more unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. He stuffed them in bags, then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beef. He cleaned out the icebox, and quick as a flash, Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee, and now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove, when he heard a small sound like a coo of a dove. He turned around fast and saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who, who's not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by the tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know that old Grinch was smart and so slick. He thought of a lie and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied, there's a light on this tree that won't light up on one side. So I'm taking her home to my workshop. My dear, I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. And this fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, he got her a drink and sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for the fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, their ribbons, their wrappings, their tags and their tinsel, their trimmings, their trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crimpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh, pooh to the Who's, he was grinchly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two, then the Who's down and Who will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear the sound rising from the snow. It started in low and then started to grow. What do you think he hears?
A song?
We'll find out. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was very merry. Very! He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came, somehow or another. It came just the same. And the Grinch, with the Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till the puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in the Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whisked with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beef. The end.
Yay!
I hope you guys enjoyed that little reading of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. If you would like to read another book along with us, leave that in the comment section below. Or if you have a favorite holiday book, also leave that in the comment section below. We would love to hear what you guys are reading this holiday season. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you again soon. Bye guys!